Hey guys and gals, hope everyone's doing well. So this next video I'm going to be making is going to be addressing a part on the Porsche 911, the 991 generation, and possibly some other generations of Porsche vehicles. It's a common failure part on these vehicles, and it's kind of, there's always these weird parts that tend to fail on cars like this that people wonder, why is it that they just don't make these parts to a level of quality that they don't fail. And unfortunately, these things aren't often discovered until years after the cars have been produced. But in this particular vehicle, it is these pesky driver's side window switches that have been known to break. And after this car is now, believe it or not, this car is already 7 years old. To me, it still looks and feels like a new car, and I love it. But this car has aged a little bit, and now this switch is finally broken on me. And let me show you what it looks like when it breaks. So you can see the driver's side, or the passenger side switch works fine. You push it, you can feel this like clicking. It works perfectly. But on the driver's side, rolling the window down works, but then if you go to pull the window, whoops, there it goes. The part just fell out. Here's the part. That's the switch. And I can put it back in. It's a little tricky to put back in. I'll put it back in a moment. But anyways, even after I put it back in, it'll just keep popping out, and it's a pain, especially when you want to roll down your window and or roll up your window, and then you go to raise it, and the switch pops off, and you're driving, and you can't do it. So it's been a little bit of a pain, but now I'm going to replace it. And in order to do so, I'm going to have to remove this door panel. I purchased a new switch, and here's the part of the video that's not going to sit well with everyone. So you have a couple of options when this happens. You could either take your car to the dealer and let them fix it for you, and expect that to cost probably $400 to $500 for them to replace a switch. The part alone is, about maybe $250, and then, of course, dealer labor fees. So the other option is you can buy the switch yourself from Porsche and, save the labor and do it yourself. And, that's obviously what I like to do. But as it turns out, and I've read about this online, that, some people have bought these switches, or switches that seem to look and feel exactly like the ones that are in the door, from AliExpress, and had very good results with that. So I went ahead and ordered a switch from AliExpress, and I got to tell you, I'm going to show you side by side once I get this switch out and can put them on the workbench for you to see. These switches look and feel exactly like the ones from Porsche, and I want to, I tend to think that these switches are probably not made in Germany, and it would not be too surprising to learn or to know that Porsche probably produces the certain parts like these in China, puts their name on it, and then puts them in the car. Now, of course, that's probably done for many products that are made in other countries outside of China, including the US. But in any event, I do believe that this part that I'm going to be putting in the car, the one that I purchased from AliExpress, is probably the same or very similar to what Porsche puts in these cars from the factory. So once I put them side by side, I'll let you be the judge. But I was already very impressed when I saw the package, or took it out of the package once I received it. So anyways, that's about it. Stay tuned, because I will be showing you how to replace this switch. And if you like what you're about to see, don't forget to hit like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we will see you soon. Okay, so before we can get to this switch, we've got to remove this door panel. I'm going to try to make a video that makes it look easy, but before I do, I want to just explain to you what I'm going to be removing, and then we'll kind of get into a step-by-step. But there are 4 plastic trim pieces that must be removed in order to expose some screws that you have to remove to be able to lift the door panel and take it off. And not necessarily in this order, but first is this corner triangle piece, Next is this plastic piece here, which houses the airbag control module. Then there's a plastic piece here behind the door handle. And last is this plastic piece right here. There's a screw back there, 2 screws here and 1 here. Once you remove those screws, then the door panel should be able to be lifted up. And before you pull it away, you have to disconnect some wiring harnesses behind the door and the cable that attaches to the door pull. Then we can pull the door off and then have easy access to the underside of the window switch, where we can just pop it out and replace it with the new switch. Should be pretty easy to do. I've seen there's quite a few videos on YouTube already showing how to remove the door panel, so if you don't like this one, you can go to another one, but we'll go ahead and get started on this. All right, so we're going to start with this corner triangle piece. Now, this car has the blind spot detection, which has these little lights here. So I'm sure there's going to be some lights, some wires behind this, possibly a connector. So let's just go ahead and pop this thing out. I know there's going to be some plastic hooks that need to be lifted. And okay, it does pop out fairly easily. I see that there is some wires back there. Let me show you that. I don't know if you can see that. So what I'm going to do is, for the time being, I'm just going to leave this laying there because we probably won't have to disconnect those wires if, you know, to remove the panel, but you would have to have removed this in order to lift the panel out because it's attached here to the door, as you could see. So we will go ahead and leave that hanging there and move on to the next trim piece. All right, so the next thing we want to pop out is this cover to the airbag control module. I'm going to go ahead and start working my way around with some plastic trim piece removal tools, and I think these things, there we go, just pops out. Don't want to break anything like I've been known to do, so you just want to be a little careful. There we go. Nice pop out there. Oh, there we go. And there you have it. You can see the connector pieces back here. They just pop in there. I could see 1 screw here, and there's another screw here that I'm going to have to remove. But for now, I'm just going to throw this here on the floor, and we'll move on to the next trim piece. All right, the next one is this piece right back here. This one's supposed to, yep, pops out real easy, just like I suspected. Let's see, there we go. Easy as pie. And you could see right back in there, there's a screw that needs to be taken out. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th screw is going to be over on the left. So let's get to that trim piece. All right, now for the last trim piece, I'm going to have 1 piece. There we go. That was so easy. Gosh, that just popped right out. You can see a little wire there. That was much easier than I thought. All right, now let's get to taking out the 4 screws that need to be taken out. And just want to throw this in there that the torque specification for retightening all those screws is going to be 5 or 5.5 foot-pounds, but I'm led to believe that a good hand tightening should be sufficient. All right, so I went and found a Torx bit just to see what size it is, and sure enough, it's a T30, and I imagine it's going to be the same T30 bit for all 4 of the screws. And better yet, I have a T30 screwdriver, so I'll be using this instead. And yep, that was nice and firmly attached. So these should come out fairly easily, but definitely just a good hand tightening should be all that's needed to put them back. And there goes the first one, the second one, the third one, trouble getting to that one. Let me move the camera so I can get in there. All right, now I have the camera in front of me, and that will allow me to remove that screw. It's kind of at an angle. There it is. I'm just going to leave that there. And then the last screw is right in there. And all of these screws look to be about the same size. All right, there's one connector here that looks easy enough to open. It looks like you press in here and you lift that there, and that should allow the removal. Nice and easy. All right, so now that all of the screws are taken out, and I believe everything that needs to come out is out in order to remove the panel, the door panel, I'm going to begin to lift it. Now I'm a little concerned that there's some parts. Now I can feel that it's lifting. I don't want to pull anything too hard. No, it's lifting up nice and firmly. Like you can tell it's sliding off. I don't want to pull anything too hard and risk, oh, there we go. Okay, let's see if we can get the camera back in there. Let me make sure that's positioned well. All right, so there's some things back there that are gonna have to be disconnected. The first, actually, I'm gonna leave the door handle cable because that seems to be the strongest thing. I'm gonna leave that there for last. Here's that's the, this cable here. That's for the blind spot detection. You can see there's another wire here. That should come out fairly easily. Trying to see if there's anything else that's connected besides this, and I don't see anything. So I definitely want to make sure I remove this thing because I don't want to damage that. So I'm going to remove that first, and then remove this cable here, which is probably for some part of the door. And then I'll take the door handle pull cable off last so I can remove it. All right, I'm just gonna start by saying that this little booger here was not easy to get out. It took poking and prodding with a couple sharp little things to just get this little plug to be able to disconnect from this triangle. But in order to remove this door panel, you do in fact have to disconnect the triangle because the wire is connected to the inside of the door. So just be aware of that. That is something that has to be done. And of course, now that it's done, I can go ahead and push this through, and that's one less thing that's connected. Let's see what we have here in terms of any other parts of the door. I see there's two parts here. This part here, there's a wiring harness here that looks like it needs to come out here. That one just popped right out nice and easy. And then of course now I just have to remove this thing. Which there we go. That popped out right there. Are we disconnected? We're disconnected. Awesome. Well, in case you want to know what the inside here of the door panel looks like once the outside trim panel is removed, here you have it. You can see the speakers there, the various cables, but that's what it looks like. Alright, so I've got the door panels sitting here resting on the roof of my car, and it's because I'm a little bit too lazy to clear off my workbench. But I'm going to show you exactly where that window switch is located. You see this yellow plug here? By the way, this is the top of the door here, and this is the bottom of the door. Here's the plug that goes into the window switch. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this plug, pop out the window switch from the other side using some plastic trim tools, and then pop in the new switch, and then we will go from there. Okay, so I have commandeered a table inside the house where it's air conditioned, and I can focus on showing you a little bit more clearly what it is that I'm doing. So again, this here's the top of the door, the bottom of the door. This yellow switch here is the window switch. I imagine that just pushing in on this tab, it's going to pop out. Let's see. And let me try from this angle. There we go. That's the underside of the window switch, the plug right there. So now I'm going to flip this over, and you'll see the window switch here. And this should pop out fairly easily with some trim tools. All right. So after doing a lot of jiggling with this trim tool and another one, and pushing also from underneath, I was finally able to get all sides lifted, and you'll see there's these metal clips that if they're pushed in, they helps it pop out easier. But it took me a little bit of time to get it popped out, but I had to work on it from the underside as well as from around the edges to push in those metal pieces and pop this thing out. So now that this is out, we're going to compare this to the AliExpress switch. All right, so here is the switch that I just removed. You can see the sticker here, and spoiler alert, this is the Porsche part, and it says, I don't know if you could see it on there, made in China. So no surprise, but this piece happens to be made in China. And this is the broken window switch. You'll see when I pull this up, that's the part that breaks. Of course, I was able to put it back in. Anyways, here's the new one. Doesn't have any stickers on it, doesn't have any Porsche parts on it, but this is, here on the left, this is the new one from AliExpress. Take a look. So I'm gonna turn it side by side. You could see, I mean, these things look almost identical. The white on the little illustrations on the buttons is a little maybe brighter on this one, but otherwise these look to be nearly identical. And I don't know if you could hear the buttons, but listen, there's like a 2-click stage. This has that. It's got like a 2-click stage, and I mean the buttons, I'm pressing them side by side, I can tell you they feel identical. If these were made in a different factory, I would be surprised. But the big spoiler alert is that this is indeed, and I don't know if you could see that, made in China. All right, so step one is going to be to pop this. Trying to hold this thing standing upright. Boom. There it is. Can't even tell that it is not the original. Step 2, plug it back in. There, you heard it click, or I heard it click. There we go. That was a better click. All right, now the last thing we're gonna do is reattach everything. These parts here are where the door is going to sit on the hooks, the plastic tabs, while we reconnect everything. Remember, this little wire here goes up through the triangle slot. There's a little black plug on the back that connects here, and then of course this, which is the door pull, the door handle pull. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, there she is, all back together. Let's, you see the buttons light up, perfect. And it works just the way it was supposed to. Let's see if I didn't mess up the door. Actually, let me try opening it from the inside. Hang on, anything can go wrong. Door pull works. Well, I would say that's mission accomplished. That's it. We did it. Pretty easy. You know, not difficult at all, actually. You only need a couple of tools to get this job done. That's the T30 Torx screwdriver, some trim panel tools, and pop this thing out. Pop the switch out. I would say that was kind of a little tedious to do. Working it from underneath and getting in from the sides to pull those little metal tabs in. That's what you need to do to pop this thing out. That little plug that connects this blind spot light thing was a little tricky, but other than that, I mean, this was a pretty easy job, and I just saved myself, you know, several $100s, at least $3, by, you know, doing this myself and finding the parts online. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, again, don't forget to hit like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, everyone.